and then our show goes away. Meh.
We do a huge number. We do a huge number.
Doing sound effects for the season.
Two things.
That was good.
Now, because like in the season finale, you want something big. So I'm going to get, Greg's promised he's going to pop his collar at some point in the show for an entire segment. And Mark, I actually have this written down, will have a personal reveal that will be shocking in both its candor and vulnerability. So that's coming up later on today. But first, let's do some news.
Mark's like, oh, man.
Just learning about this.
Just learning about this, the Niners, like, oh, our best player doesn't want to be here. Deebo Samuel requests a trade out of San Francisco. People that are plugged in, good reporters around the national scene say, nah, the Niners aren't going to do this. And yet, Greg, the way things are going in our league at this point, if the star wants out, the star usually can find his way out. Is Deebo Samuel a week one player for the 49ers?
I think he will be. I think this situation is different because of when it happened, because of how flat-footed he has caught the 49ers. I don't think they expected this at all. And I think they know in their heart of hearts, and maybe Deebo does too, I don't know what this man is thinking, that money can solve everything. He doesn't want to be in California necessarily. He doesn't want to play running back as much. If you give him that Davante Adams contract, I have a hard time believing everything will not be okay. I think he will be back.
I don't like you painting people with that brush, Greg, because Davante Adams could have gotten a big fat contract from Green Bay, and yet he wanted to go somewhere else that he felt more suitable to where he was in his life, and that happened.
The difference is Deebo Samuel has not made his money in his career. He's made only a couple $1 million, and they're going to offer him as a third-year player going into the fourth. If they give him top wide receiver money, I think it's settled.
I'm with you. I think that just because Davante Adams got his way out of Green Bay, each of these front offices are silos and they're different. And the Niners, I think, don't really care what people think. We've all, like, let's trade Jimmy G, let's cut Jimmy G. They go do their own thing. And I think that how many times has Kyle Shanahan caved into the demands of a player, star player or not? He simply hasn't. Money will answer
Learned that from his dad. I feel
think
like
he did.
a lot
and
of that.
The running back thing, I think this is just we are watching these big paydays go from late July, when they normally happen. It's a hastening of that to now. And
I'm
it's
still
right
missing
before
something.
the draft.
He gets it. See,
I'm still missing something.
Moving up the process, taking control of that process.
I'm missing something still. Why can't he get traded somewhere where he wants to go and then get paid by that new team?
Wait, he would, and that's why they're bringing
why
this
does this
out
have
there.
anything to do with him getting paid?
So, because he got
Teach me
a
like I'm
contract
5,
extension.
Greg.
He got a contract extension offer from the 49ers, and I think that's where this started.
He doesn't want it.
He wasn't happy with it. So he's trying to see if your team, maybe the Jets, will give up 2 first-round picks, and maybe that would bowl. They're not going to give up that much, but an offer that would give up, make the 49ers say, okay, we'll do it, and then he gets out and he gets.
Just saying, he could have it all still. He could get the payday and go where he wants.
But it's up to the 49ers.
That's what he wants, but I don't think the Niners
And be a Jet.
Yeah, but see, you're coming from this fan angle, and I don't think that has anything to do with where the Niners are coming from.
If they offered
this
the
is not
number
all about
4
your
overall
wins,
pick
so.
and a second-round pick, I think they could maybe get it done.
Athletics says that they would need to be bowled away by an offer. Connor Hughes reported that. So
there are teams
that's not a first
have that ability to do such a thing.
Yeah, that's true. But
like a team that trains out in North New Jersey.
It tells me the mindset is the Niners are not budging on this. They're going to pay him at some point, and I'm with Greg. That will
run by a
the dark
strapping
clouds.
Bald man that looks like a hunter, like he hunts 23 hours a day.
Who might
in the
be a
woods.
little worried that he won't have a chance to make trades like this if he doesn't do it now. You're right. He's going
5-12 for the 8th year in a row.
Speaking of the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, still a member of the 49ers, and he gave an interview recently where he said 2021 was a strange year. He wouldn't wish it on anybody. And then the football cognoscente and Twitter in general all go to the well-worn bit, which I've shared myself as well, like, oh, I feel bad for Jimmy Garoppolo, the most handsome man in the NFL and a guy that's a multimillionaire quarterback. But at the same time, you get where he's coming from. He's still here, Mark, and he's kind of caught in limbo right now in his career.
It is. I mean, if anything, in the era of like all these discontented quarterbacks, voicing their opinions, tweeting endlessly, Jimmy G has been pretty quiet and pretty compliant. And if anything, the Niners and Kyle Shanahan last year sort of said, this is the plan. And he went with it, and he was a good boy about it. But at this point, it's like, he's rehabbing. And
he's like the mom from the commercials with Jimmy G right now.
He is. I mean, I think he would just like to have some direction in his career, and there aren't a lot of landing spots for him.
I don't get that.
They just got caught. He's doing great work in a Subway ad. I think he should be given more work, frankly. Maybe give Baker Mayfield spots to Jimmy G.
Let's just say a fast food sub sandwich ad campaign.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Jimmy G, I think when he was talking about that he wouldn't wish it on anyone, part of it is he was playing quite poorly through a separated shoulder. So another similarity to Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
I just don't think they're going to find a trade partner until August. They told Trey Lance he's going to be the guy. I don't buy that he could be on the 49ers, Jimmy G, that is. And they'll find him for a 5th-round pick in August. That's it. Something like that.
In other NFC West quarterback news, Kyler Murray. What is going on with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals? Obviously a contentious offseason between quarterback and team. But Steve Keim, the general manager, had positive thoughts on the situation. Let's listen in.
There's been a lot of speculation out there, the possibility of you guys trading Kyler. Can you rule that out?
Zero chance.
All right, and then Kyler Murray doubled down and got on his Twitter. This is the way sports are now.
Yeah.
Got on his Twitter and said all these comments about, I want to win a Super Bowl with the Cardinals. AZ is home. So now we've kind of come, it's a full circle here in a way.
Well, and also Michael Bidwell, the owner, said recently that's not happening when it came to a trade. So I think there seems to be a collective thought. We're not moving this guy. Like, he can say what he wants. His tweet, the way he tweets reminds me sometimes, like, between 10 and 11 p.m. what I do on Twitter. And then the next morning you wake up thinking, why did I do half that stuff?
I saw one from Mark last night, actually, that was immediately deleted. But I saw it. I happened to be on
it's
that
for
night.
you, Greg, alone. That's how it works. I should have just texted it to you. But, I mean, I think Kyler Murray is an example of a guy that's taken to social media and largely botched this process and looked kind of like a fool to some degree.
I disagree because I think they made a play. Him and his agent.
Well, he has. It's
His
not been
agent
effective.
and he made a play. And they tried to see if they could snuff out a potential trade and a new contract elsewhere or whatever. They want to see what could happen.
This was the result of the play they made.
It didn't happen, but we learned about these tweets live on our podcast. Everyone should check that out 3 times a week. And I got to say, I think in the moment I didn't realize that this was actually a big news item. I feel like something really changed. Something happened between Kyler Murray and the team to make this change. They have backed off. They're off the ledge. He's still probably got to want more money, but he's kind of decided, okay, this isn't happening this offseason. I'm calling off the dogs.
It was a couple weeks ago on this show that I shot the Kyler Murray anti-drama into the sun, and it was like, no, this will actually be a fun thing to talk about. I am over it.
It's over now.
Put it into the sun.
It's the part where he could get traded is over. I believe him.
Well, it's over for this week.
It's over this offseason.
I don't think they're moving him.
I think it's not happening.
The owner doesn't
Now,
want to.
Perhaps
now
I'm more
it's the
cynical,
contract.
but I think the way, especially this particular quarterback has operated, he's been a little unpredictable and erratic in some of his social
annoying.
media.
I think there could be a holdout, and I think the contract thing could be a story we talk about a lot. But the whole trade, I feel like that's off the table now.
All right. The confidence is what really stands out to me. Coming up next on the broadcast, I think it's good to have confidence in your takes, but this one feels strong. But we got to move on.
I mean, you can't pop a collar without a little confidence.
Is it coming?
Right. It's like, oh, maybe Kyler will do this, maybe. No.
All right, we got news
on
on Mac Jones, A.J. Brown up next on the broadcast. All right, welcome back to the broadcast. Is Greg's collar pop? No, not yet.
It doesn't look good on this.
Has Mark shared a personal revelation, shocking in its candor and vulnerability?
You gotta leak.
Well, that he sends out texts that he immediately, or tweets that he immediately deletes.
Are you going to share that tweet that you deleted?
I'm not going to reveal what it is right now. That's not how television works.
Okay.
You got to keep the viewers
Well, I like it. You're a pro. All right, let's get into it. More news. A.J. Brown, star wide receiver of the Titans, like Deebo Samuel, in the 4th year of his deal, and he is looking to get paid. He wants to get paid. But we don't have any inkling yet that a trade is happening. John Robinson, the Titans GM, says he doesn't foresee trading Brown, which is slightly less strong, Greg, than what we got from Mike Vrabel, the coach, who said that I won't be here if he's on the trade block. Let's decipher this one.
I think A.J. Brown's going to stay in Tennessee. And I think John Robinson is leaving just a little bit of wiggle room depending on what A.J. Brown wants in terms of a contract. And you just never know what could come up during the draft. Again, a team like your Jets, if they're going to offer 2 first-round picks or something, I think then the Titans would entertain trading him.
No.
But I also don't think this is just coming out of nowhere. Again, it's a team that isn't ready to do a negotiation right now. They're preparing for the draft, and A.J. Brown wants to get paid, and he doesn't want to wait around, and I think that's where this story is coming from. A.J. Brown angling for more money.
Well, and it's not a coincidence that Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown share the same agent, Tory Dandy. And that
Tory Dandy Pop.
These two wideouts have been talking to each other, too, it's been reported. So this strategy is almost identical. It's a mirror strategy, and it's put 2 teams in a fix. And I think the Titans are like,
Mark.
they're not, he's their centerpiece.
This guy gets it.
The guy's got the red string up. He's connecting all the dots of the offseason.
I just call reading the internet.
A.J. Brown doesn't seem happy with someone. Either he's not happy with the fans, or he's not happy with the Titans, or he's not happy with the media. I don't know. He's not happy with someone.
Maybe he's not happy with you.
I don't think he knows.
You're a national media member. In other news, Devontae Parker, he is happy. He is happy. You know why he's happy? You know, I'm happy. You know why? Because it's time for the good side, presented by Grifols Plasma Donation Centers. Devontae Parker is the new wide receiver of the Patriots. He's supposed to bring more of an element and a dimension to that offense. He's been working out with Mac Jones, Greg, and he says he likes that arm. He's got some zip on his arm, and that was one of the things people weren't so sure about going into the career, the professional career of Mac Jones. Does he have the zip? Devontae Parker says he does.
I mean, it's a little bit of a trope alert. Let's be real.
It is.
It is. But you know what? It's also true. Like
Beat me to it.
Joe Burrow. I mean,
don't try to diffuse the trope alert.
I'm not trying to diffuse it. I'm trying to say sometimes cliches are cliches and trope alerts are trope alerts because they're true. Like, guys really do improve their arm strength. Joe Burrow did it, and I think he did it working with some QB coach. You know who Mac Jones is working with? Tom House.
So he did it. When's the last time you saw Mac Jones when he was getting laid out? Well, he was fine against the Bills, but that was like 4 months ago. So now he has a laser?
I'm just saying you can improve your arm strength. Tom Brady did it.
Yes.
If you go and look at the research about improving arm strength, it's your rotator cuff, and there's like 4 muscle groups around the rotator cuff.
Sessler!
And you can, when you're in the pros and you're working on it nonstop, improve your velocity, improve your arm strength. It's true of the human body for all sorts of things.
Here's my thing: is like Jets fans and other people around. I think
are Jets fans.
You are underrating Mac Jones's upside.
For some reason, listen to the last 4 months of the podcast.
For some reason, Mac Jones goes out and he outperforms by a decent amount one of the greatest rookie quarterback classes of all time, and people are still like, oh well, he doesn't have the ceiling. It's like, why not? He's gonna get better. I think he has a chance to be a top 5 quarterback in this league. If I'm redrafting last year, I might take him over all of them, and no one sees it that way. I don't get it.
If you want to like self-consciously call out Jets fans for being in their feelings about Mac Jones, let's make it clear that you follow the Patriots
self-consciously
as your favorite team, and you have something invested in him being better than good.
I was talking about you. There's this whole idea that Mac Jones has this ceiling. I've heard these redrafts from draft experts, and everyone's like sticking to their old board. It's like, well, I'd still take Trey Lance and Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence over him. And I'm like, what? Like, doesn't the year in the NFL matter more than your college football?
He really was good. He was the best rookie quarterback. I think there were questions whether he is the quarterback who could really attack downfield with his arm. That still needs to be proven. Sure. That's what makes him the next level.
Yeah,
but
that would help.
He's already a good draft pick.
There also were examples last year where arm strength was not an issue. I mean, he had some bullets. I just think that these quarterbacks physically can improve. To go from college to the pros.
Joey
You're
B
working
did.
at
Joe
it with
Burrow
pros
did it
all the
in a
time.
Well, I don't
Exactly.
think, I certainly am not arguing that people cannot improve as they get older. I'm just saying it happening 4 months after his last game, the new teammate after the workouts, it's a bit of a trope alert.
Okay.
That was the good side presented by Grifols Plasma Donation Centers.
We came with it for Griffin.
Oh, that was good.
Yep.
And Sessler's like breaking down the human body now?
I went and did the research because, is it
Calling
real,
out
is it false?
agents. He's got it right now.
Sharp as
MVP.
hell. Hey, by the way, the NFL draft is next week in Vegas. They have a concert series. Listen to this, Bill. Listen to this triple bill. That is Weezer. Oh, my God, guys. As a 1980 baby, it hurts me to see that Weezer there.
Why?
But I don't know. Ice
Just
Cube,
the picture
Marshmello. Who is the act that you would like to see, Mark, if you could only pick one?
I think that you think that I would go Weezer because it was a sweet spot for me right when I was. But here's the thing: I have a bad memory with Weezer. I went out of my way one weekend to create like a dense double mixtape with probably 6 too many Weezer songs on it for like the Tom Brady girl of our school, and I shot too far into the sun, and it went.
Is this the confession?
The response was very tepid, and so since then, whenever
Undone
I
the
think,
sweater song didn't get it
well,
done
no,
for
whenever
you?
I think about Weezer,
Mark,
I
guys like
think about
us,
that,
you don't go for the Tom Brady girl.
Well, I
You
try.
go for the Mac Jones.
You go. I know. I'm picking Ice Cube though. I would like to see Ice Cube because he's
Okay.
a friend of the show. He came on our show. I don't know if he remembers this.
Oh.
Seemed like he might have been slightly in an
There
alternate
he is.
state at the time.
Look at the
but
chemistry.
Look at this.
Our great friend
I
Chris
think he had
Wessling,
a nice
of course.
time.
Wow, look at Ice Cube. You could tell that was a special moment in our old Studio 66.
So I've seen Ice Cube live. He played the equivalent of a halftime show at a NASCAR event just this year, and I gotta say, is one of the best live at a big stadium performances I've ever seen. I'm not even exaggerating. It's gotta be Ice Cube.
Did you ever see Weird Al live?
I've seen Weezer live at the Nassau Coliseum. How about
I've seen
that?
Weezer. I'm friends with Ice Cube, and I've seen Marshmello before he broke in Vegas. I would like to see all of them to tie.
Well, that's a very company
Another
thing to say.
lukewarm take.
Unbelievable booking by the NFL. Up next on the broadcast. But we should go with the older headshot for Weezer. We're talking draft with Josh Norris. Whoa.
I mean, the old
Our man.
headshots are kind of sad too, because you're like, who are you trying
Let's
to
just
fool?
go vintage is all I'm saying. Coming up next on the broadcast.
finishing in defense led by number 97, Aiden Hutchinson.
Can I pick it? Yes, you can. He can throw it, but he can run that bad boy too.
And it's broken up by the outstanding safety, Kyle Hamilton, deeper into the bag of tricks. Jamison Williams, goodbye.
For the end zone and wide open, Jamison Williams. He's going to get sacks. He's going to get strips.
Orton with a great play. Wow, Thibodeau read that perfectly.
Oh man, the NFL draft's less than a week away, and we have so much great talent to talk about. We did that with Josh Norris of Fantasy Underdog. Here's a portion of that conversation with Josh.
You did the damn thing last year. You want to talk about brand building. You want to talk about establishing where you land in this landscape of the draft, mock drafters. You nailed 16 of 32 first-round picks last year, and that's brilliant.
The entire top 10.
The entire
close. 9 of 10, but
9 of 10.
Oh, okay.
And that is something. How is that possible? And you wrote a great piece where you did your mock draft 1.0 that you have to nail that top 10 and then find, quote, random player and team fits from number 16 on. So there's a strategy. And I'll also say that, like, I was watching your live, YouTube show, and I liked how your process, it's logic-based, but investigative in nature. There's knowledge involved that you need, but also breadcrumbs and red string dot connecting, like how you know that Ron Rivera doesn't like to leave his house. So when he does, that matters to the Commanders draft board. Really, bravo, Josh.
Well, it's all wiretapping. That's all it is, Dan. I will add, though, and I think you know this from growing up with Jets. Mark knows this from growing up with the Browns. Like, if there's some level of cohesion in terms of decision makers on a team, like, you kind of get to know their process a little bit. And, when I was 7 years old, the Panthers came to Charlotte, and I just became obsessed with them. And I started to kind of figure out how they built their roster, which directions they were going with, whether it be, Marty Herney, Dave Gettleman, and now Scott Fitterer. So all I thought was, well, one, let me ask some beat writers in the top 10, but also let me find like the Josh Norrises from across the other fans of those teams, right? Ones that are obsessed from a young age, and see what they think.
You see how he went third person
it helped me hit
there?
The top 9 of the top 10 picks.
I think Desmond Ridder going in the first round feels like the surest of sure things that right now has like even odds. Essentially, his over-under is the end of the first round. And I feel like the closer we get to the draft, the things that people like about Desmond Ridder matches up with what NFL decision makers like. Like, oh, he changed the culture. He's a winner. Like, he's impressive in the room, which is all great. Like, that stuff matters. He won and all that. But it also matches up with what all the tape heads love. Like, of all the guys in this draft, I think he's the guy that tape heads look at and say, okay, he's going through his progressions. Okay, he's showing a little bit of anticipation here. Okay, I don't know how good he's going to be, but he's athletic, so at least there's some upside there. He's an NFL quarterback. If there's one quarterback in this draft that, like, we sort of know will at least be on a contract 8 years from now on a team, it's Desmond Ridder, and that's why that over for getting into the first round and believing that he will get taken maybe first out of all the quarterbacks, but certainly in the top 30, seems like a very strong pick to me. Do you agree?
And to make this a bigger point, I think because, draft season starts back in December and January, and a lot of these lists from really great people come out, they have, rankings that really firmly set, let's say, Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis above the rest. And even, heck, at the tackle spot, it's Ike Ekwonu and Evan Neal above Charles Cross. Once you get to draft weekend, part of the reason we love it is because there's shock, there's awe, there's unpredictability, other than my mock draft. And then that's when all the fun happens. And so it wouldn't be shocking to see Desmond Ridder, the first quarterback off this list. I think Matt Corral has a chance of being the first quarterback off this list. The big difference here between this group, and I'm sure you've had someone talk about this already, and other ones, is like there's no one that does everything well. Desmond Ridder's inaccuracy is prevalent everywhere. Matt Corral is like a confident Marcus Mariota in terms of his RPOs, and only ran about like 88 snaps of 3 to 7 step drops, and that's about it. Kenny Pickett at the NFL level is going to have to win inside of structure, working through his progressions, but he never did that really during his time at Pittsburgh. He wanted to escape the pocket.
I don't get the Pickett love. He's DJ's favorite guy.
And then Malik Willis is someone who has fantastic athleticism, almost the anti-Lamar Jackson in terms of loves throwing downfield and outside the numbers, but the middle of the field is like a complete blind spot. So any one of those, and I think really, Greg, what it comes down to is these teams are going to fall in love with the person of one of these quarterbacks, like build a relationship through these last 3 months with one of these quarterbacks, and that's the one they want to attach them to. And Ritter, by all accounts, might be that one.
I think there's a sandwich prop to be laid out here that the Jets will absolutely take a wide receiver with one of those 2 picks because they've shown their hand throughout all their trials and tribulations in this offseason. They had a deal agreed with for Tyreek Hill. They definitely kicked around DK Metcalf. This is something they've been trying to make happen, and it hasn't yet. So I think this is going to be the road they go. Good logic
and
there.
Also in on Calvin Ridley, potentially, Amari Cooper, they are possibly in that deal. So once again, it's the paper trail that we're following with where these teams want to invest. I think 10 at the Jets absolutely is a possibility. It wouldn't totally shock me if the Jets want to start this wide receiver run, and it's the number 4 overall selection. The difference here, Mark, is like all these wide receivers do different stuff. And like Garrett Wilson is your true ISO ball, line you up, one-on-one wide receiver, wins with separation, creates separation, and then, sustains it. Versus like Jameson Williams, who's coming off an injury, who's like true vertical juice speed down the field. And then you have the other Ohio State wide receiver and a few others in Drake London at USC, so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm with you. 10 and 11, I would be surprised if by that point we don't have 2 wide receivers off the board.
I think it's really saucy in general, some of the dot connecting you've done here with the wide receivers, because you got Jameson Williams to the Chargers at 17, and I love that. You wrote about him, make a strength stronger. Mike Williams with Keenan Allen and Jameson Williams, we are on fire. And then you do the move that, this was it's a good dot connect, because what are the Packers going to do here? They just went out and they got Sammy Watkins, but then a report came out that he's not even starting to make the roster. Obviously, they need more, and you have them double dipping with Treylon Burks and Christian Watson. It makes sense because they have to kind of go in big here. I feel like to justify moving Aaron Rodgers' big guy out of the room, and you have to hit on one of these guys to make them a credible Super Bowl offense.
So if my life is now devoted to retaining my title of mock draft stardom, I have to hit on one of these wide receivers at the end of round 1. And we all firmly believe, at least for one of these spots for the Packers, they will take one. So yes, you mentioned Treylon Burks at 22. With their second first-round pick, I had them taking Christian Watson coming out of North Dakota State. And the two are very different. I mean, Treylon Burks was kind of manufactured touch-like player. And if we're splitting Davante Adams in half, which is a dangerous thing to do, he was 4th in the NFL in screens last year.
Frankly, immoral to do that.
Well, it's illegal.
Right. Yeah. Sports don't matter that much.
If you're going to split him into 0.5, you better realize there are some legal consequences.
He has a family, Josh. Not everyone is just for you to play your little lab games.
So he had a lot of manufactured touches and RPOs. And so Treylon Burks, that's the area where he might shine with this offense. And if we're trying to replace an MVS or a vertical playmaker with a lot of athleticism, then Christian Watson, who did some of that manufactured touch stuff at North Dakota State, would fill that as well. But then you have names like Sky Moore coming out of Western Michigan. You have George Pickens, who really shined during his freshman year at Georgia. Then it kind of took a downturn from there.
Before you let you go, I do want to just a couple comments. I'm just saying, Derek Stingley to the Seahawks, I just can see that.
There's no need to answer any of this.
Yeah, this is
just Greg talking.
This is just me talking. That was amazing. I'm just saying, I'm giving that an award for the best mock pick that you had. The second I saw that, I was just like, oh, yeah, that's such a Seahawks type of move. Jordan Davis, you have going 8, and that's the other one, even more than Ritter, that to me, the over-under still doesn't seem high enough. I think it's at 13.5 right now. Josh, doesn't it just seem like there's no way the NFL is letting him go that far?
Just quickly on him, I mean, he legitimately is the most athletic prospect to ever enter the NFL, ever.
In a draft where no one's excited about anyone, where Trayvon Walker could go 1 just because people are looking for a home run. So he could go top 5, I feel like. Who the hell knows?
And we've seen, Derek Brown go top 10, Ed Oliver go top 10 at defensive tackle, Quinnen Williams go top 10. I really liked a lot of those evaluations. And I understand that, he played about 27 snaps per game. But if you want to acquire a talent at like 6'6", 340 of Jordan Davis, you can't sign that in free agency. This is like a new kind of prospect that we've never seen before. So I just don't understand, and maybe it happens, how that falls out of the top 10 when, like you said, there's so many questions this year and it's quote unquote a poor draft.
Nice. Thank you to Josh Norris. You can check out that full conversation on the podcast end. He's over at theunderdognetwork.com. All right, coming up next. No, don't do that. Our segment where we try to save teams from themselves. Up next on the broadcast.
Throw it on me like a quarterback. Make your boy go when you throw it back.
Malik Willis, quarterback.
I'ma run with it. Look at oh so pretty and a rump did it.
This guy's dangerous. Willis airs it out.
74 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons.
I like that.
Can I pick it? Yes, you can. He can throw it, but he can run that bad boy, too.
Quarterback draw, navigates. Malik Willis, touchdown, Liberty. Corral, shot to the end zone. Caught, touchdown, Ole Miss. How about that Corral? Holy cow, Sam Howell showing the toughness for 6. Ritter delivers right on the money, and that's going to be a Cincinnati touchdown.
Desmond Ritter makes plays when he has to.
Wow, so much talent in this draft. Don't listen to the naysayers. There's going to be studs coming out of the green room on next Thursday. So let's get into it. There'll also be some busts. That's just the way the business works. And we're here to help NFL teams that are thinking of doing something that could really hurt their long-term trajectory. We call this segment, no, don't do that. Greg, why don't you get us going?
I'm going to start with the Carolina Panthers because I look at that team right now and it looks like a team in disarray. Their offensive line really isn't there. One of the worst in the league. I think one of the worst things they could do is add a rookie quarterback to that mix and believe he can start right away. And I see all these mock drafts that are having Kenny Pickett go 6th overall, and I'm just thinking like, no, don't do that. Why would you do that, Panthers?
Look at that.
I mean,
gravitas.
This would be a disaster. You know what Kenny Pickett reminds me of? A poor man's Baker Mayfield.
Oh, come on.
You know who you could, I mean, Baker Mayfield was the #1 overall draft pick. You know who you could go get with all that cap space that you were wasting to go get the shot. Go get Baker Mayfield for a 5th-round pick and draft an offensive lineman. No quarterback's going to succeed with the situation that they have right now. Definitely not Kenny Pickett, who does not stay in the pocket, who holds the ball forever. It's a bad situation for him and the Panthers.
Greg, you're a guy with, I respect you, your character, but from a football perspective, this is hypocritical.
Why?
Because your whole thing, your whole shtick with young quarterbacks and teams that need a quarterback is keep on taking them until you find one.
Yeah.
And now you're saying, unless it's Kenny Pickett, who I hate for some reason,
unless
so go
it's
get
Kenny
a lineman.
Pickett at 6th overall. Like, you could trade back and maybe you could take someone later, but to me, he might not be I don't think he's been any better than these other quarterbacks. It just seems crazy because I think they'll get fired. They'll play him and he'll struggle and then they'll get fired.
Well, it
seems
sounds like
a bad
Baker
idea.
Mayfield and Sam Darnold dueling for the #1 job is also possibly a pathway to getting fired at this point.
It is, but I think Baker would give them a chance. You're telling me Baker can't give Teddy Bridgewater-like production if they traded for him?
I like Baker Mayfield.
And then
so
with the defense that they have, which improved, like maybe you win 7 or 8 games and you get another year. If you put Pickett in there, you could be drafted #1 overall.
Your logic checks out. They have a lot of holes to fill, especially on that offensive line, which played a big role in Sam Darnold's struggles, I believe. So improve the line, go get a veteran quarterback, wait till you like a prospect more. But you could make the case. I wouldn't say, no, don't do that.
I would. I feel like it's the #1 mistake like any team could make.
I'll throw out another one. The Lions pick #2 overall. The Lions just traded away Matt Stafford, Jared Goff. Oh, we got a bit of a reveal here. No, don't do that. Lions draft Malik Willis 2nd overall. And I feel like this would be a reach for a Lions team that needs a lot of help still. I think Goff is a bridge. He could be a bridge for another year, and you could build this roster. Now, if you are in love with Malik Willis, go ahead, pull the trigger. But if you are trying to talk yourself into him just because you have the #2 pick and you don't think you're going to have a pick this high in the future because you believe you're going to get better, I don't know. That's where I think you could get into trouble. Take Malik only if you love Malik.
Yeah, I mean, he has the highest upside of any of these players because of this running ability, because of that Josh Allen-like arm. I mean, he's got a long way to go. But they do have 2 second-round picks in addition to that late first-round pick, and they got an extra 3rd. Maybe they could trade up for a Malik Willis after using #2 on a defensive end.
Listen, let me present mine because I kind of come from a completely different place than you, Dan. I would say this. Mm-hmm. You're the Detroit Lions. If you don't get a if you go into Jared Goff for another season, you went into year 3 next offseason with no quarterback in place. You don't know where you'll be next offseason. Malik Willis, if you read what is on NFL.com for now from a flock of personnel guys, there is an NFC offensive coordinator that said he's better than Trey Lance and better than Justin Fields were a year ago. And other personnel guys saying basically there's a short-sightedness in how we look at Malik Willis, the same way that there was with Josh Allen, with Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that he is Patrick Mahomes, but if you're the Detroit Lions, roll the dice. Why is it so safe and secure and say, hey, if you get him at 18, he can play. If you get him at 18, that's smart.
The graphic changed.
But if you get him now at #2, that's
Go
a bad
ahead, Mark,
idea.
do
I'd
it.
say this. Yes. Do it!
Oh, no. Remember the draft? Remember the last time we had the draft? It was like, oh, there's not going to be any quarterbacks in the first round. And then there were because teams can't help themselves. And then Jake Locker and Christian Ponder and all those other guys came, I think it was the Cam Newton year. That's my only concern here. Now, what you said, Greg, makes sense to me. It's like you go get Trayvon Walker or an edge at #2 overall to really fortify that defense for Dan Campbell. Then you use your draft capital to go get a quarterback where it makes a little more sense.
Right, if you know you're going to do that. You're putting yourself in a risky harm's way.
Unless you love Malik Willis, then you do
They coached him at the Senior Bowl. They intentionally brought him in for a visit. They know him. At least they know him. I do think there's a chance this could happen at #2.
Sometimes you could talk yourself into love when it's really like.
That happens.
Because you really want to love.
I mean,
your reveals
you also can do it in reverse.
Do you have an example of that?
Well, Mark has a reveal coming up a little later in the show that might connect to that. Coming up next on the broadcast. It has something to do with that time in Arizona you had, Mark.
No, it does not.
I hear a lot about that Arizona time.
All right, hey, we're in the business of cryptic tweets. That's what the NFL is all about now. That's the only thing that matters in the NFL. We're going to get to more that aren't real but kind of are up next. All right. Welcome back to the broadcast. Little industry parlance. Here we are in the E block.
Yes.
And that means there's only one more block in the show. Your collar's still not popped. Can we?
I mean, but it has like the thing.
Oh, Fonzie over here.
It looks like a vampire.
Maybe Dracula. Closer to Dracula.
A little dark.
And Mark, we are very close to your personal reveal.
According to you. I'm being sort of, you're forcing me into this. I never agreed to this.
All right, cryptic tweets. That's how people communicate. The kids out there, oh, let me just get on Twitter. These are my real feelings. There's no face-to-face anymore. Whatever happened to Gary Cooper?
Happening?
You know?
I mean, we are the target demo for Twitter. We've been on it for 13 years.
But anyway, we thought it'd be fun to, since so much communication is done on Twitter between player and teams and fan base, let's offer up our own tweets from players' accounts, not actually their accounts, but this is how we feel like these players could best communicate whatever they want right now in our league. Greg, you're up first.
Okay, I'm taking over Baker Mayfield's account.
You're jacking it.
And I just think this would be a good strategy. He's looking for the next social media strategy, and I think you should send a tweet to Geno Smith and just be like, you need a backup, bro? Now, this accomplishes a lot. People are worried about Baker Mayfield in terms of,
accomplishes a lot for you.
People are worried about, him as a teammate. This shows he's a good teammate. He's ready. He uses the word bro. That shows he can get along with all of his teammates.
He's a vibe.
It shows he's humble, too. He doesn't believe that he's going to be the backup, but he sees the situation as one maybe he can win, and it shows, I'm going to fit in that locker room. And I think it starts building a bridge to his next
Why
team
stop
in the NFL.
there? Why do hey, do you need your lawn cut? Can I shine your shoes? What else can Baker do to defer to the great Geno Smith?
Well, you could have used bra instead of bro, I suppose, if you wanted to.
Greg, what does it mean in terms of how he's dealing with Drew Lock? He's just simply saying
totally
Drew
ignoring
Lock
him. Doesn't really worry about Drew Lock. He recognizes Geno as the most talented player on that depth
As long
chart,
as you can be
and the guy who's been there.
If you can be the backup to a flat earther who punches his own teammates and gets punched by his own teammates, what else can you do?
Hey, he went for it.
Well, all right. I think Geno would win that.
Don't ring that Baker bell if you're not expecting Mark to get fire at you. I don't think he punched anyone. He only got punched. All right. How about this? Kyler Murray's been a tough guy to figure out. He's very unpredictable with social media, and I think he could use that to his benefit and just have some fun with all of us. So here we go. Kyler Murray, we know what happened earlier this week when he said, now I want to win a Super Bowl and everything. How about this? Actually, and these are in quick succession, 5 minutes.
Right.
This dry climate, not good for my asthma. Wait for people to react. Psych, don't have asthma. Dry climate, fine. Wait 5 minutes. Go A's. Baseball emoji.
Yeah, that was good. It took us on a journey.
Now people are freaking out.
Yes, they are.
What you want to do, you want to disorient the football cognoscenti. That's what we want here.
He is scrambling them. And, he's the one that came out and told, reporters, this is how social media works. This is what the young people do. He's taking it to a whole nother terrain and level here.
I feel like the only thing he was missing was the 1 out of 4 at the corner, 2 out of 4.
He didn't think of that.
But I like it ending with the A's because, again, you're back in a spot where what does that mean?
Right.
What does it mean? Really know.
Hyper confusing.
What does it mean?
To the viewer.
He's a disruptor on social media.
Tweet storm. I love it.
Mark, what do you got?
Well, mine is not a player in the classic sense. I mean, he plays games to some degree, but Sean Payton, who we thought was out of our world, out of our atmosphere. Here's what he had to say. Let's take a look.
Uh-oh. You knew this was coming. These
well,
guys
Daddy is bored. We've got another civic quietude scenario that just went south because, he should have learned from Tom Brady. You can go make these plans away from the reasons you were brought to earth.
He denied that. He said that he wasn't getting involved with Brady.
Well, no, it's not the get involved with Brady thing. It's just that he should have learned a lesson that Brady walked away. And,
I see.
4 weeks later was like, I'm tired of mowing my lawn. And, going to Target.
I like the theory that's kind of out there that he accidentally kind of played himself here. He thinks right now, his plan was he's the coach of the Miami Dolphins living in a mansion with Tom Brady as his quarterback. Yeah. And then that all got shot to hell by things that were outside his control. And I was now I just got to wait for Mike McCarthy to get fired before I can get the next job.
Let's just say that the Saints with their draft moves had Malik Willis and Chris Olave, and you had this coaching staff that is essentially everyone who was there last year but Sean Payton. You just slide him back in, and he had a nice little winter into spring break. and he's back.
You know what's not good for curing boredom? Like getting into a studio show with Terry Bradshaw or whatever he's doing in the fall. I just feel like it's not going to be enough for Sean Payton.
Do you want to hear a bored former coach? Go listen to Bruce Arians in his 1 year as a color analyst for Fox.
It was like the only time in my life I was like, no, talk more, Trent Green. Like, we need more of you, Trent. Bruce was barely there. Sorry.
All right, those were all fake, but they would be better if they were real. Coming up next on the broadcast, we say goodbye to a friend who's moving on to greener pastures. Up next on the broadcast. All right, weekend vibes time. This is the last few minutes of the show before we go on hiatus. And we are also ready for the Mark Sessler personal reveal, shocking in its candor and vulnerability. Let's get tight on Mark if we can.
The way this show is set up, and our podcast too, is that I get set up for these types of things, and I stumble into a verbal trap and say too much. I'm not doing it today.
You could just play along. You could give the host what he wants. You know, he's been working hard this whole
give the
season.
audience. Forget about me.
Why don't you give the reveal? You tell me what you think I should be telling people about myself.
I feel like, look, it's getting tighter on you.
I don't like this
your
at
chance.
all. Go.
All right.
I mean, this man looks good.
How about a Severance level cliffhanger? Our season premiere this summer. Mark, that's how we open the show.
That I promise you we'll do that.
All right, great. All right, this is now the time to say goodbye to a great friend, Henry Hodgson. Look at this tweet from Henry. He has been the vice president of International for several years, but he's been with the NFL Media Group for over a decade. We've known him very well that whole time. He's been not just a great colleague, but a great friend, and now he's taken a big gig over running things on the NFL UK side. So he's still in the company, and that's great, but he's not going to be in the country anymore, and that's sad. I guess I'll just miss my friend. Mark, your thoughts?
I remember the first week that Henry was brought to the company. And, it was for a very different position, in a lowly position compared to where he is now. And within like 72 hours of him, he's very tall and elegant, affable, has a deadly sense of humor. We call him Handsome Hank. Within about 72 hours of him showing up, I thought he is going to rise quickly. And it is our prediction as a group that he likely becomes the NFL commissioner at some point.
Well, yeah, if Roger Goodell ever wants to step down, it would be a great choice. But Henry's role, look, he was helping run the website, improve that. We all worked together that. But his role in growing the game and helping us grow the game overseas, the International Player Pathway Program with Jordan Mailata and a lot of those players, a lot of that wasn't happening. And bigger thing is like we're all such great friends. Our group's breaking up. We miss Chris Wesseling every day, and Henry was such a big part of that group.
We're happy for Hank, but we're also gonna miss you, buddy. Good luck.
Well, and you know, now Henry goes off to live in Enya's castle, so we'll be sure to visit him there. But we have one other thing before we go.
It is a big weekend.
It is a big weekend for one very big reason. Let's take a look if we can.
Happy birthday, Daddy. Love you. Love you.
Wow, nice job, Jack and Harrison.
My boys.
Dan
Jack
turning
and Harrison.
41, correct?
Close enough.
Oh, am I allowed to? You're a man. I can say your age.
42.
42.
There's my
They did a great
personal
job.
reveal.
I think we did that during the pandemic too, and I think Jack and Harrison are getting bigger, stronger, better on camera. What boys?
Yeah, that was very nice. Thank you. Yes, I'm going to spend some quality time with my friends this weekend, including you boys and Henry. And it's good to spend time together. Don't take it for granted.
Season finale. I think we did it.
Yeah, we hope you liked the show. And if you didn't, whatever. Till next time, heed the call.